Hi there, warriors, and welcome to this video on the Uruguay YouTube channel. And today we have a clear topic of discussion. We are looking at the next Uruguay manager who will take over from Óscar Tabárez and who will take over Uruguay with only 4 games remaining in the World Cup qualifiers. And as of right now, in my opinion, two main candidates. One is Marcelo Gallardo, and the other one is Diego Aguirre. Both managers who have had success, but at this moment, Marcelo Gallardo, for sure, he is the man we want to get. The sounds a bit odd maybe, but it's the manager who is absolutely on the top of his game. He's about to win the championship in Argentina. He's done a brilliant job for River Plate in the last decade, basically, winning Copa Libertadores 2 times and letting his team play fantastic football. So it makes sense that Uruguay, or the Uruguay national team, the association, want to get him. But is it realistic? Probably not. Purely based on financial statistics or financial information, is Gallardo earns $6 million a year at the River, and Tabares earned 1.8 million a year for Uruguay. So Uruguay will not offer much more than this. So then it's really hard to compete with this kind of financial offer. The other um, argument I would give, which makes it hard for Gallardo to join, is that Gallardo is doing a fantastic job at River, and his next logical step, is to go to Europe and manage a big team. Because his coaching capabilities, they add up. They it makes sense for him to get his next step because he's a brilliant coach, brilliant manager. So for him, it will make sense to go to a big club in Europe. But if you want to join Uruguay, it will be fantastic because Gallardo is a good manager. Let's get that right. He's a fantastic manager, one of the best in the world, in my opinion. And Uruguay wanting to get him, trying to get him, and according to ESPN Argentina, they are even making an offer. Uruguay. It shows ambition. Is it logical? Do I see it happen? No, I don't. But we can all dream, obviously. The other option I was just talking about is Diego Aguirre. Aguirre managed the Uruguay under 20 side between 2017 and 2019, and he's currently the manager of Internacional, and he's doing a good job. After taking over, Inter has done very well in contrast to what they were doing before he took over. So he's doing a good job there. He's been a manager for a lot of years, done good jobs, done mediocre jobs, but overall, he's a good manager. He went to the Copa Libertadores final with Peñarol, which is the last in 2011, which is the last time a Uruguayan team went to a domestic or a international final. So these things all speak for him. And further than that, or furthermore, he was also the one who scored the winning goal in the Copa Libertadores final in 1987 when Peñarol won the Copa Libertadores with Óscar Tabárez as manager. Obviously, this does not have anything to do with him being a good manager, but I just wanted to add. So these are the two main candidates. If you just look at what is currently going on in the media, some good sources reporting it, also board members of the AUF speaking. Gaston Tealdi, one of the board members, said that Aguirre for him is a good option, could be a good manager. He also stressed that this was just his opinion; it was not something that was a consensus or a view from the Uruguayan Football Association, but he is an option. And also, the Uruguayan Football Association also makes sure that Gallardo is they like him a lot. They think he's a great manager, and they would want to get him. But like I say, is it realistic? Probably not. Probably not. But okay, like I said, Diego Aguirre and Marcelo Gallardo, the two main candidates right now. Two main candidates to take over as Uruguay manager. Maybe not based on reality, but based on what the AUF want. These are the two priorities for Uruguay, the association. They're looking at these two people. This is what their focus is on, and they want to try to get one of them. But if we go down further the list, some other names, and I made a list here because a lot of names being spoken about, but I wanted to keep it a bit realistic. Gus Poyet could happen, or is being talked about, but can it happen? Will it happen? No, it won't happen. I'm sure of that. I'm sure of that. So I made a list of 5 Uruguayan managers who are liked, according to reports by the AUF, and 2 foreign managers who are being named in the press in the last few days. So I start with the Uruguayan list. The first one is Guillermo Almada, current manager of Santos Laguna. Diego Alonso, a free agent. Fabian Coito, free agent. Paulo Pesolano, free agent. And Alexander Medina, the manager of Club Atlético Talleres, right at this moment, who are doing really well in Argentina. Um, Almada is my pick. He's my favorite option for takeover as Uruguay manager. Gallardo, yeah, obviously I would like him even more, but looking at the realistic well, how do you say it? Gallardo, I want him. I would love him, but for me right now, still, it's not realistic. It's a name the AUF are looking after, but it's not based on reality. So when I just look at it objectively, Guillermo Almada, from the picks, from the options, from the names I'm looking at who could take over, he is the best one. He is my favorite. Diego Alonso did a good job in Mexico, winning two Champions Leagues in North America, but he was fired by Inter Miami his last job. I didn't think he was doing really badly because Inter Miami had his first year in existence, and he got them to the playoffs. He was knocked out eventually in the first round, but yeah, I mean, it's not a bad job, but he's a good manager in my opinion. So this is why I think he's also being named, and I think he should be considered because Diego Alonso is a good manager. Fabian Coito, not a big fan of his. He's been fired by Honduras midway through the qualification process in CONCACAF. But it's clear that he is liked by the AUF because he was working for the Uruguayan Football Association as manager of the under 20, under 17, under 15 categories for almost 10, 15 years. So Coito could come in and he would know the organization from inside out. He would completely fit in. And also, he's the only manager in this list who has also managed the game for Uruguay. Because when Tavares, I think I don't know, I'm not sure if it was for suspension or for his health, but he took over for the game against Mexico in Mexico, which Uruguay won 4-1. So he's a 100% win record for Uruguay. But okay, he's a name that is surely, in my opinion, when we look at the main candidates, Diego Aguirre and Marcelo Gallardo, when both these names do not go through, so when both managers are not do not become the Uruguay manager, I'm pretty sure that Fabian Coito would be the backup plan. He would be the prime backup plan, which AUF are looking at to probably take over. Another two names, Paolo Pesolano. He done a decent job for Torque, then went to Liverpool Montevideo, done a good job. And now in Mexico, he's been fired, but he's a good manager in my opinion. So there were a lot of rumors for managers, for names. Not all are true, not all are really realistic. But thought I'd make a list of people who are being named and also who I think could maybe come in and do a job. And Paulo Pesolano is certainly one of them. Just like Alexander Medina, who is now doing very well in Talleres in Argentina. So he's a name you can consider. The last two names I have on the list right there is Hernan Crespo and Jose Peckerman. These are two names, they were mentioned a lot when Tavares just was sacked, and also Hernan Crespo was mentioned a lot last month when Tavares was on the brink of getting sacked. At this moment, they are really the rumors have died down a little bit, but these are options. I'm not sure. Can we write them off yet or not? I don't know, but these are options and these are names that have been mentioned. So yeah. Okay, let's look at the first comment. Thanks all for you being here. Please like the video and let me know your opinion about who should be the next Uruguay manager. Who would you want to see beside the sidelines in the game in January? Who do you want there? Who do you want to see lead this team to the World Cup? Nicolas Hernandez Vidal says, hi. Honestly, I don't really know any managers from Uruguay. Only name I recognize is Gallardo. I know he's not Uruguayan. No, I mean, I can imagine, because Uruguay, I think Uruguay have quite a few good managers, but it's right. They don't have managers. We don't have managers for clubs or teams, whatever, which are big clubs, So, like Guillermo Almada is the manager of Santos Laguna, which is a good club in Mexico, but it's not famous or anything. Then you have Diego Alonso, who is free agent. Then you have Alexander Medina for Talleres. Diego Aguirre, Internacional. Obviously, it's a big club, but these are, I mean, these are not managers who have made a real name for themselves, although they are good managers. But it's also, I think that's the way it is with Uruguayan managers. Just like Uruguayan players, they are less marketable than Argentinians or Brazilians. So when you get an Argentinian manager or Argentinian player, or Brazilian manager, these are more marketable than Uruguayans. That's just the way it is. It's always been like this historically. So yeah, yeah. But only name I recognize is Gallardo. He's not Uruguayan, like you say, but he has managed for Nacional. That's also something. So Gallardo, although I don't think he's a realistic option, uh, he is a damn good manager, and he has managed for Nacional. He's played for Nacional, so he has some connection with Uruguay. That's for sure. Um, we will see if they can convince him on the. It has to be on the project, on the job he is being given. He is gonna be given because financially they have a lot to compensate. Because, like I said, the difference in money he's being paid yearly will be probably $4 million. So that's a big gap. And obviously, um, the other argument, like I said before, is that he will probably want to go to a big club in Europe, because this is a logical next step. It's been talked about a lot. He was linked to Barcelona a little bit, but Gallardo could easily go to a big job in Europe and do a job. I'm convinced of this. Jorge Cepero says Gallardo. You would pick him. Yeah, I understand it completely. Gallardo. I mean, when you lie in bed and you if your eyes closed to think who do I want to be the next Uruguay manager, you probably would say Pep Guardiola, maybe Jurgen Klopp. Um, these are the names, but Marcelo Gallardo would not be far down that list because Gallardo, the job he has done for River, it's been fantastic. And okay, I know he's not won an Argentinian league until now because he's probably going to win it this season. But the job he's done overall in international competitions, uh, especially. It's been just fantastic. And he's also a likable guy. He's a good representation of your club or your country. And he brings attractive modern football. And that is what every Uruguayan fan is craving for. Because when you just have watched these last few years, you want to get to bring in a manager who brings or who gets your team playing some kind of way, some kind of style of play, have an identity back, have some see some good football. Obviously, it's not going to be just like fix, but certainly a new manager coming in with his ideas um, can change a lot. And Gallardo is a manager who can do this for sure. Burn Roddy says, yeah, the difference is huge. And I think you're talking about financially difference. Yeah, for sure. And also says about Gallardo, indeed, he's an amazing coach. Underrated in Europe, really. Yeah, but it's logical because everybody's underrated in Europe if you're playing in South America. That's just the way it is. But yeah, Gallardo is a dream name. Will it happen? We don't know. All we know is what is just breaking in the media is that ESPN Argentina has said that Uruguay AUF is preparing an offer for Marcelo Gallardo. So, but like I said, he should be convinced on the project. On managing Uruguay with a lot of good players coming through, and that should convince him because financially he will not be convinced because at the River he can stay another year and he can earn three times what he's earning for Uruguay in 1 year. He can go to Europe, earn a lot more, obviously, but so he should be convinced on the project. He should be convinced on the fact that he's gonna challenge or he's gonna manage Suarez and Cavani in their last World Cup. He should be convinced on the fact that he's gonna have Valverde, Araujo, Bentancur, Torreira, Darwin Nunes, all these players who have a lot of talent who he can work with. Because one thing that he can do, he can work so brilliantly with young players. And that is also one of his biggest qualities. Like Nicolas de la Cruz, he came to River Plate. First year, he struggled a lot. And he was basically written off by fans. Fans didn't even want to have him there anymore. And he came in, or Gallardo didn't came in because he was already there. But Gallardo took him under his helm, took him under his guidance, and he made De La Cruz turn his career around, his River Plate career. And De La Cruz, although he's injured right now, he developed into one of the best players in South America because of Gallardo, and obviously because of him himself as a player. But Gallardo guided him to being this different type of player, having more confidence. And Gallardo is a type of manager who, although also obviously tactically I think he's really good. He can really drill a team very well in playing attacking style of play, keeping high pressure, a style of play that's attractive for fans. But besides his tactical qualities, he's also a really good manager in giving his players an extra lift, an extra bit of confidence to go and win a game for him. And it is something that is really a great quality to have as a manager. Okay, yeah, Jorge Severo says also Gallardo knows how to play De La Cruz, unlike Tavares. Yeah, I mean Gallardo knows him inside out, and that's something. If Gallardo comes in, I'm really interested to see how De La Cruz will be played and things like this because he could really help him a lot. Lisa Smith says Gallardo didn't just play. He won the Uruguayan championship with Nacional as both player and manager. Yeah, yeah. To be honest, before I went live, although I know a lot about these managers already, some more than others, but I went to research all of them, and I knew that Gallardo won or managed Nacional and also won the championship, but his record was really good. I think he managed like 28 games, 25 games, and won 20, 22, and lost only like two. So he did a good job. And obviously, when he had this, because he was at Nacional a really short time, he went to River Plate because this was also a club where he was really loved. And yeah, he gave the next step and became the manager he is right now. Yeah. Javi M says, if anything, this is the time for Gallardo to take the job. If he fails, he didn't just. If he fails, he didn't. He just didn't conquer national team football. If he fails, he will still be in high demand by clubs. Yeah, probably so. I mean, that could really happen. If even though he does fail, doesn't mean he's a bad manager. And also, like you say, national team management is something completely different than club management. So if he does fail, it doesn't mean he's ruled out for big clubs in the future. But the thing is, like I just said, his career planning would probably be like manage National first, then manage River Plate, and he's been there a lot of years now. His next step would be go manage a big team in Europe. That would be logical. Probably a big team in Spain because I don't know how his English is, but Spain would be ideal for him. A big club like maybe Sevilla, maybe Lopetegui is doing a good job, but a club like this. So Uruguay probably, when he was thinking to himself maybe a few years back, what is my next step? Uruguay probably would not have come into this discussion. But also, you have to remember the situation right now is that Uruguay are 4 games to go in the qualification, just only 1 point behind the playoff spot. So for many managers, that is something appealing because um, even though your intention is just to be there for a few months, you can be at the World Cup in a year. You can qualify for a World Cup in 4 games, and you have a job and you manage at the World Cup. And every manager, every player, their dream is to manage or to play at the World Cup. So that is something really appealing. Maybe also for Gallardo. Even though Gallardo, like I said, his career planning probably would have been different. You have to realize you have 4 games left. You have to get maybe 9, 10 points to get to qualify. But if you qualify for a World Cup and you are a manager at the World Cup. And normally when you take a job on as a national team manager, you have a qualification process to go, like 18 games, 10 games, whatever, 2 years, and then you go to the World Cup. Right now, Uruguay are very close to be in the places of the World Cup qualification, and you have just 4 games to go. So for any manager, that could be really appealing. So maybe this is the case for Gallardo. Who knows? Who knows? And another argument I would bring in, or not an argument, but something I would try to bring in, is that my first reaction to Gallardo being named, or any name like Jose Peckerman or Hernan Crespo, is that I probably would prefer Uruguayan as the manager. That's just my personal preference. But it doesn't mean I'm completely ignorant to any names that are being mentioned, which who are born outside of Uruguay. So my my first pick would still be Guillermo Almada, but that was probably before I knew about Marcelo Gallardo. So Gallardo, obviously, I think Almada is a brilliant manager, but Gallardo, for the things he's proven, is obviously in higher esteem. So if he can come in, wants to job, I would take him 100%, and he would be a brilliant option. So yeah, and I see in the chat and also on Twitter a lot of people just really wanting him as the manager because Gallardo is just like this, probably the most highest rated manager in South America at this moment, and also for the last few years. Okay, Fuat Hakim says World Cup is an exciting challenge with one of the best teams in South America. I think he would accept after the end of the Argentinian league. Yeah, I did. You probably posted this comment before I was even before I was even talking about the fact of managing a team in the World Cup. So I didn't read it yet, but I just talking about it. But that's true, you know. Like I said, manage a team in a World Cup or play in a World Cup, that is just an unique experience for anybody. And also, like you say, is the Argentinian league. It ends in December, and it's so in January, when Uruguay play at the 29th of January, I think. He is already well, he's free, you know, and he's a free agent, so Uruguay could easily get him. So it's really a possibility. Burn Roddy says the issue is that Uruguay might not have the quality to play like Guardiola's Barcelona, but it has enough quality to at least play similar to Klopp's Liverpool. Yeah, I mean, play like Guardiola's Barcelona, no, but we are not expecting this, you know. But I understand what you're saying, right, by the way, because I understand we have players with what quality, but also have a lot of physical capabilities, who can get at teams, play high pressure, and be really in your face. Because Uruguay has to be this. Uruguay has to be in your face. We have to be mean. We have to be competitive, wanting it more than you. And this is what we have not seen too much in the last few years. So we certainly can play like Coach Liverpool, but we also can play, which I obviously am aware that you also think this. We can play more attractive, better football, more modern football, and really be more pleasing on the eyes for ourselves, but also for maybe people who want to watch Uruguay as a lover of football. And for lovers of football, Uruguay have been a little bit of a curse because it's not been really great to see. Yeah, like you say, we've just been playing rubbish. That's true, unfortunately. Um, to play, okay. I think Javi M says, and this is in reaction to Burn Roddy, to play club's system. It will be impossible. You need a certain amount of fitness for it, and some players come from teams that don't even press high, like Suarez with Atletico. That's what preseason is for, building our fitness up. Well, I agree with you that I agree with you that Atletico or Suarez is probably not used to this anymore. His body cannot handle this anymore. But overall, our team of or our group of players can really play this type of football, and they obviously had preseason with their teams and they train every day, so that would not be a problem, in my opinion. Um, Fuad Hakim says, "I think the most important thing is a coach that can win you games. Playing style isn't a priority." Well, although I agree with you in the first part, obviously any manager, what you have to do is win games. If you do it playing defensively, very offensively, a mix between this, I don't care. You do it your way. If the way you do it works, then you have to do it. But eventually, the the way we played in the last few years, and also the fact that we didn't even have a style of play, we didn't even have an identity, meant that we were not winning games. And also, you can say this, and it's a good argument because it's true. You have to win games, and that makes you a good manager, whatever way you play. But football has moved on. So Mourinho, I love him to bits, but Mourinho is a prime example that football has moved on. Because Mourinho is a manager who, although he's been one of the best managers of all time, his style of play is not suitable to the current footballing climate. Because current footballing climate, and you see it in 90% of the teams, not even the top teams, but 90% of the teams, they want to play. They want to play out from the back. They want to press high, and that is just the way football has gone. Football is way more dynamic than it used to be. You football before 10 years, 15 years, used to be like a certain style of play, obviously, but way more pragmatic. And at this moment, football is more dynamic. So it's not like I don't know how to explain it because probably my English is not good enough to try and explain it. But the thing I'm trying to say is that football is not as it's more fast paced right now. It's more dynamic. It's more high pressing, getting in your face, and trying to emphasis on creating chances winning games by your attacking prowess rather than sitting back and soaking up pressure and then hitting on the break. Obviously, teams do this still, but you can just watch, you can just see on the current teams that are winning the trophies, especially in Champions League. You can just watch the teams that are doing well generally are these attacking minded teams. And you know what? If you play 3-5-2 or 5-3-2, doesn't mean you're defensive, and you probably know this as well because um, Tuchel with Chelsea, obviously they can be a little bit of defensive side, but overall they are really a dynamic team which can break in an instinct, and this is because they are defensively good organized, but they also know damn well what they have to do when they counter attack or when they go into the break, when they basically have to attack. So maybe they are a little bit of a defensive minded team at some parts of the game, but they can they can really go for teams as well. So this mix should be right, and this mix is not right for Uruguay for a long time right now. But I understand what you say. For what obviously winning games is the most important thing, and whatever style of play whatever style of play brings this doesn't matter if it wins games, wins trophies, brilliant. But overall, in the last few years, we've seen the development of football. Most of the teams that are playing attractive, modern football, high pressing, they are winning the big trophies. Okay, Burn Roddy. What I mean is that old players like Suarez will be super subs. Okay, yeah, yeah, he could be for sure, and sometimes he should be more. He should be used more like this, and you probably know it if people are watching this who are watching Twitter. Suarez is my favorite player I've ever watched because I just love him like he's my brother. But uh, you have to be realistic. Suarez some games I see him and I think, you know what, the best option for him is to come from the bench and make an impact rather than just tiring yourself out for 60, 70 minutes going up against physical defenses. You should better. Your best option is to maybe play 40 minutes, 30 minutes, 20 minutes and make an impact when defenses are tiring. Because what Suarez will bring, despite his physicality not being what it used to be, he's a smart guy up here and he can find these little pockets of space in defenses and basically punish it and score a goal with wins you the game or gives you a point. Um, so he still can do this for sure. Javi M says Suarez or Cavani still has to start, at least one. Cavani can press a lot more than Suarez in today's game. Yes, for sure. But Cavani, that's the thing with Cavani. The things he brings besides scoring goals are just ridiculous, you know. And he's 34 years of age, and the, the shame is that he's been injured for so many times in the last 2 or 3 years. But whenever he's playing, you don't see that he is someone who's been injured a lot because he plays like he's a 23-year-old guy who runs for days. And maybe this is maybe the reason that he gets more injuries than probably could have had. But whenever he plays, besides like I said, his goal scoring abilities, off the ball work, pressing the defenses, finding spaces, making space for his teammates with runs, it is absolutely fantastic. And like you say, I think we have to start one, not two anymore. Suarez Cavani as a couple, it's over. It's over. That's just not, there's just like I said before with the comment of Fouad, is like football has moved on. Whenever where do we ever see two strike partnership of two? It doesn't happen a lot anymore, and it's a reason for it. It's a reason for it. And Uruguay at this moment with the players that are coming through, Uruguay should play one striker, two wingers, or maybe one striker, two creative midfielders, attacking midfielders behind them, like De La Cruz and De La Esqueta, which worked brilliantly in against Paraguay at the Copa America. We should look at these options because two strikers, I don't like to see it anymore. And I mean Darwin is a striker, but you can play Darwin and Suarez because Darwin he's everywhere. He can play from the left, he can crop on the right. He's not a fixed striker, so he can do this job. But Suarez Cavani, for me, uh, although they've given us these amazing memories, they cannot play together anymore. That's just my opinion. Okay, let me have a sip of water. Jorge Cepero says Captain Gallardo would be awesome because he could get rid of the myth that Uruguay can't play with the ball. The myth needs to die. Yeah, it's a myth because, um, yeah, you're right. Because the thing is, the fact that Uruguay don't play football that maybe we can play, it's not really down to the players we have. It's down to the management we have had in the last 15 years. That is just a reason for it. So, for example, if a manager comes in right now, like Guillermo Almada or like Marcelo Gallardo, if he gets a job and gets to work on this team, we can play good football. For sure, we can. I mean, it's not down to like I said, it's not down to the players we have because the players we have, all of these players, Valverde, Bentancur, Suarez. Although maybe Atletico doesn't play that style really that well, but all these players that are playing for the national team at their clubs, they play this type of football. They play trying to take initiative on the game, on the ball, trying to create chances, score goals. They play this style of play at their clubs. It's only at the national team that this style of play is not being played or has not been played in the last few years. So we have players that are suited to being more possession orientated and trying to win games by basically creating chances and being a dominant side on the ball. Just the fact that we have not tried to play like this, or that every time we are getting into a little bit of a tough phase or a tough game, even if it's away at Peru or away at Paraguay, the way of being or the way of approaching the game is always like limit the opponent's threats, limit the opponent basically, and trying to get something on the break. And that is not the way it should be, but it's the way it's been. And if a new manager comes in, like Gallardo, like Almada, maybe even Aguirre, although he's a little bit more defensive minded, we can make this change which Uruguay need. Okay. Darwin Nunez or Bruno Rodi says Darwin Nunez has had a fantastic year, but we just need to find him a partner and make the partnership works. In my honest opinion, it's Federico Viñas. Well, I do believe that Darwin Nunez has had some brilliant moments, fantastic year. I don't know. He's also had some difficult moments, but he's a good player for sure. Player with a lot of potential, a lot of future. Federico Viñas, I love him a lot because his story from working as a food deliverer at 19 years of age or 20 years of age, after giving up on football, then getting back to Juventud in the second division of Uruguay, doing so well that he even got the attention of Club America, one of the biggest clubs in Mexico, who spotted him just like when nobody was even thinking of him. And his first 6 months at Club America were fantastic, scoring a lot of important goals. So at this moment, everybody, including me, was really hoping that he could be this next great breakout star. Bit of a story that you don't really see a lot, because every time a player comes through, he's been a talent in the youth academy, somebody that's been talked about a lot, thinking that he would be the next star. But someone like Federico Viñas came out of nowhere. But we have to be honest, in the last year, it's not been the same. He's not played a lot, that's true, because the manager preferred other players. But his goal scoring average or his performances have dropped a little, or a lot, to be honest. But maybe if he can come back, who knows that he can come into the national team, because he certainly can surprise a lot of people. So let's see. Okay. Jorge Cepero says Uruguay needs to battle the big national teams for the ball. I don't want to see Uruguay have the ball against Bolivia and Venezuela and not repeat that style against Brazil or Germany. Well, I do have to disagree with you a little bit, because you know what? I agree with you that you want to see more than just dominate the possession against Bolivia and Venezuela, but these games we have to dominate with possession, trying to create chances, trying to outplay our opponents, and we do it sometimes, not a lot. So even in games like against Ecuador or Chile or Peru, we don't do this a lot, but we do need it. But for example, when you come against Brazil or Germany, Argentina, obviously you want to see more on the ball. You want to see Uruguay be more assertive, more confident on the ball, for sure. But there's no shame in playing against these type of teams and being a little bit more pragmatic. But the way we are being, the way we are having this pragmatic approach, it's a little bit too much. That I have to agree with you. Okay. Okay, 5 people watching here. If you're watching video, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. We'll be really appreciating it. And also, a lot of people are in the chat giving your opinion, and thanks a lot for that. I really love it. And if you're not, just let me know your opinion. Who would be your ideal manager? Who do you want to take over for Uruguay? And who do you give me your realistic opinion or your realistic choice, but also give me your dream choice. And you can have no boundaries. You can say anybody you like. Who, if you would give, if you are given a check of whatever 10 million euros, $10 million, and you can sign one manager in the world for these upcoming 4 games, who would be your choice? Marmo Tank says Celso Ortero for manager. uh, I mean, that is funny, what you're saying, but it also reminds me of little thing. Um, so after the sack of the performances against Bolivia, Sergio Gorsi, you all know him probably, this famous journalist, or I don't know if you can call him a journalist, but he's in the media, that's for sure. Was talking about, okay, maybe it's time for Tabárez to go. My best option will be, I think it was like Celso Otero, Fabio Coito as the manager, Celso Otero as the assistant manager, and the same stuff as Tabárez was having. And I was thinking, oh my days, how can you say this? I mean, what is gonna change? Nothing is gonna change. I mean, Otero and the other coaching stuff, I even forgot their names, but they are part of the problem. And it's the same as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer right now. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for United has been sacked. But Michael Carrick, is now the interim manager. I know it probably will be for a few games, but the same stuff is there. Coaching stuff is the same. So, what are you going to change? I mean, they were part of the problem. They are part of the problem, right? It's just, but yeah, I mean, it was a suggestion. It was a really bad one, but yeah, I have to laugh at it a little bit. Burn Roddy says, laughing out loud. Yeah, I can imagine. Says Otero for manager. I mean, we have to get it trending, just for the jokes. And the thing is as well, Cesar Otero, I mean, I didn't like Tabárez's press conferences a lot, but Cesar Otero, he was the king of excuses. I mean, come on, it was that's just ridiculous. He would find an excuse for everything, for absolutely everything. Honestly, that was just unbelievable. Never ever. I mean, I can understand that you want to defend your position, your manager, the fact that you want to be in his job, but come on, be a little bit more realistic. That is also why a little bit of frustration always has been there from me to the media in Uruguay, because I know these journalists, they have to keep their connection and relationship with the Uruguayan Football Association, the manager, the coaching staff, the players, because they want interviews, they want exclusives, because things like this, they sell papers, they sell clicks, so they want this. But if that is what you're all about, then you're not a journalist anymore. Because the fact that Tabárez and the coaching staff were in this job for such a long time was because there was so little criticism from the journalists, from big outlets, media outlets, television programs. There was so little criticism on him, and every time there were excuses, and there was some stupid articles selling us fake hope, and that was just my biggest frustration of all of this, because we all knew the problems. I mean, we are not we are fans. We don't have a degree in journalism. We maybe don't have coaching badges, but we are fans of football, lovers of football. We can see what is going wrong. I mean, it's not that hard to spot when it comes to Uruguay in the last few years. But these journalists will keep selling us fake stories, and now they're talking. Some of them talking about respect for Tabárez and injustice to second four games before the end qualification. I mean, just fuck off. Honestly, sorry to say this, but come on, what a joke. And yeah, and they will be here when the next manager comes in, and will be interesting to see. Dream choice, Jorge Cepero says Johan Cruyff. Well, I mean, brilliant football mind. Man like this, yeah, would certainly help us. Said that he's passed away, obviously, but I understand what you mean. It's a brilliant footballing figure in the history. Jorge Cepero again says Coito can't be the manager either. He has the same bad defensive style. I agree with Jorge Cepero. I have agreed with a lot of what you were saying today. So well done. No, I mean, um, the thing is with Coito, he's been named a lot as well. And like I said before, he's probably a backup option. If Diego Aguirre or Marcelo Gallardo are not being named, he's probably the one that AOF are looking at of the short-term option because of his experience, of his work, what he's done with the AOF in the youth categories. He will be a name that is really high up the list. But the fact why I don't like him, okay, we can talk about the the South American Championship in 2017, and he's done a good job there. I will not deny this. We also have to say the players he had: Valverde, Bentancur, De La Cruz, Chia Casa, when he was actually giving a go. Uruguay had a really good team then. But having said that, he did a good job. But throughout this tournament, or throughout this process of the Uruguay under 20 side, Uruguay came into the World Cup of 2017, under 20 World Cup, and we went to the semifinals, but the football was dreadful, absolutely dreadful. And then as well, same happened a few years later, 2 years later in 2019 on the 20 side, qualified for the World Cup barely, and Uruguay were also playing really badly. The Uruguay on the 20 side, and he was playing. I remember Facundo Batista, which is a striker. If you have ever seen a striker with no mobility, it's him. I mean, he's doing quite well now in Uruguay, or he's now moving to Mexico, but he did quite well. But he was a striker, and he was played on the right wing. Just a joke. So this is why Coito is not the name for me, not the resolution, or the, how do you say it, solution. Sorry, he's not the name for me. But yeah, I mean, these names are being mentioned, and we have to respect it. And Coito obviously has had a brilliant career for the Uruguayan youth categories. He's done some good work, so he should be respected. Um, Marmotech says Paolo Montero is free too. We won't win anything, but we may take some legs off. Yeah, Paolo Montero. I think he was for San Lorenzo, right? And he was sacked. Yeah, he was. I think it was San Lorenzo, but he managed like a few months. And before that, he was in Italy in I think it was the third or fourth division. But I like him a lot, Paolo Montero. Who cannot like him? Brilliant captain for Uruguay, brilliant captain for Juventus. Probably injured like 200 people in his career, but yeah, like you say, he would take some legs off. But okay. Nando says, "What is up, buddy? Maestro out. Time to rejoice. Lol." Yeah, I read your comments on Twitter, and I understand your feeling that, yeah, for this, your feeling of jubilation or joy, because it is a step forward. It's a step forward, and I'm not never ever happy when somebody is sacked, although I'm aware that he's on a lot of money, but never ever happy for this. But in the bigger context, bigger picture, it's a good decision, a good moment for Uruguay, and we can say this while also having respect for what he's done, certainly in his first 5 years. But yeah, good to have you here, by the way. Maestro Ferrati says, "Hi, bro, I'm late. To me, so sorry. You don't have to be sorry, man. You don't have to be sorry. Repeat briefly what you've said before. And Gallardo is coming? Question mark. So what I've said before is that for anybody who's watching, because when I was saying it, probably a few of you weren't watching. At this moment for Uruguay, there are two main candidates: Diego Aguirre, current manager of Internacional, and Marcelo Gallardo, current manager of River Plate. Gallardo is probably the dream. Uruguay, according to ESPN Argentina, has made an offer for Gallardo, but at this moment, Gallardo is earning $6 million a year, and Uruguay, well, the most they can offer is probably $2 million a year. So the difference in financial side is big. The only thing that could help him or could convince him is the project that has been given to him, managing a team with some brilliant stars of the past, but also of now, like Suarez and Cavani, and also a great upcoming generation with Valverde, Darwin Nunez, Araujo. We can go on. So the project should convince him. Financially, Uruguay can never convince him. But for me, it's not realistic at this moment in time, but it's an option. And an option that AUF, the Uruguayan Football Association, want. They want this. Gallardo is the dream for them. They want him so bad. You just see it whenever you read something, whenever you hear a AUF board members talk, you just hear that they love Gallardo like crazy. The other option, one of the main candidates who's been talked about a lot for years, is Diego Aguirre, current manager of Internacional. Managed Uruguay on the 20 side in 2017 or 2007 to 2009. Has done good jobs for Peñarol, done good jobs in Brazil, was managing him for a little bit in Qatar, probably filling his pockets. I don't mind him. You have to do what you have to do. and he is a name that is liked a lot by the AOF as well. So these are the two main candidates, in my opinion. It's not based on a report, but based on my opinion, reading a lot of things and also following this team for a long time. These are the two names that the Uruguayan Football Association like the most. The other five names, or seven names, but five names from Uruguayan origin who are being considered maybe, or maybe on the list, but certainly you heard about them. And also, I think there are five managers that should be in consideration for the history they have or for the qualities they have. First one, Guillermo Almada, Santos Laguna manager, my favorite pick, my ideal option if we are looking at Uruguay managers, playing modern, attractive football, done really good jobs in Uruguay with River Plate, in Ecuador with Barcelona, and now in Mexico with Santos Laguna. Diego Alonso won two Champions Leagues in Mexico, CONCACAF Champions Leagues, fired by Inter Miami, but overall has done really well in his coaching career. Maybe it's too early for him to take this job, but who knows? Fabian Coito, like I said, I think when Aguirre and Gallardo are not going through, he's the backup for the AOF. 12 or 15 years experience in the Uruguayan Football Association as manager of the youth categories. Next name, Paolo Pesolano, a young manager like Alexander Medina, who has done good things. And Alexander Medina, he's now current manager of Talleres, and he's an interesting option. The next two names, or the final two names, foreign names that has been mentioned in the last week, but at this moment it's kind of cooled down. So perhaps at this moment it's not realistic anymore. But I just wanted to name them because they've been hot topics in last week for sure. Hernán Crespo, legend of Argentina, managers for Defensor y Justicia, and manager for Sao Paulo, was fired a few weeks ago. And Jose Peckerman, really experienced manager, managed Argentina, Colombia, maybe was going to manage Venezuela, but at this moment is not sure, and there has been links with Uruguay. So hopefully, Maestro Ferrati, you are now up to date. These are the options, in my opinion. Aguirre and Gallardo, the main candidates, but it's open, nothing is decided yet. So yeah. Burn Roddy says, how does Brendan Rodgers sound to you? Yeah, to be honest, I really like him as a manager. I mean, he was the manager, obviously, when Suarez almost won the Premier League with Liverpool. For me, he's a good manager. But obviously, never gonna come, yeah. But I appreciate your comment. Marmotek says, Koito would be only as good as a fire extinguisher. Yeah, like you say, he would be to get a bounce back maybe from the team, but I would not consider him as the full-time manager for us as well. But yeah. Fun fact, since 1946, every single coach has been Uruguayan except one, Pasarella. Yeah, I remember this because somebody taught me this like a week ago. But yeah, good stat that you bring up. So yeah, it will be a little bit of a shock if a Uruguayan or a foreign coach comes in. But we want the best for Uruguay, so the best manager. That's what is important for me. Okay. Ajay Gulzar, good to see you here, man. I don't know what to think of Gallardo rumors. This is a man I see coaching Champions League candidates and after his River tenure. But to coach Uruguay, I just don't know what to make of this. No, I agree with you. And the thing is, like I said before in the video, when he's probably thinking about his career as a coach, he was first at Nacional, did a good job, went to River Plate, did a fantastic job, and is now one of the best managers, in my opinion, in the world. His next logical step is to go to a big team in Europe. So managing Uruguay now is not logical for him, or it's not in his planning. But also, you have to remember that for any manager at this moment, it's appealing because Uruguay are four games away from the World Cup. And the current moment of Uruguay may be really bad, but the luck we have is that Colombia, Chile, Peru, Ecuador is really doing well. But these teams, aside from Ecuador, are all struggling. They are struggling to get points. So at this moment, Uruguay are only 1 point from the qualification spots. So any manager can come in, and if he can get this team playing again, they're 4 games away from going to a World Cup. And for any player and any manager, this is a dream. So even looking at the short term, it's an appealing job. But I also have my doubts with Gallardo. I have to reveal, to be honest. Nando says Gallardo seems like a pipe dream. My guess is Aguirre is the one. Yeah, you're right. Gallardo is a dream, and Aguirre seems like the most logical one. And also even in Porto Alegre, so the city where Internacional plays, a lot of media outlets are already talking about possible replacements. So something is going on there for sure. And the timing, which is really beneficial for the Uruguayan Football Association, is that Gallardo and Aguirre, they are all obviously managing in South America, and South American football season, it ends in a few months or a few weeks. So yeah, so it Gallardo is even a free agent in a few weeks, and Aguirre, I think he still has a contract, but it makes it easier to go. Imagine if you want to get a manager that is managing in Uruguay or in Europe, then it's more difficult because in Europe, obviously, the season goes on until May, so it makes it a little bit easier, and it also means that we might not get the news of who will be the next Uruguay manager in the coming few days. It might take a few weeks until the new year, until we get this news and until we finally know who will take us, hopefully, to the World Cup. Okay, 24/7 or Footy 24/7 says Ole to Uruguay. Ole can manage Cavani again. I know you're joking, but never, never, never. No, honestly, I would rather have Tabarez back, to be honest. Jorge Cepero says, what do you think of Juan Ramon Carrasco? Well, he talks a lot. That I do know. He talks a lot, but I think he's a funny character. I know he's been a Uruguay manager before, and it was not a success. And also, I remember at Phoenix. He has had some really good spells. He's had some really good moments with the team, but I mean, it's never gonna happen, and I don't think it should happen because he's not good enough to manage the Uruguay national team, in my opinion. Maestro Ferrati says, "Who is better or more technical, Alvarez, Nunes, or Arezzo? So many young talents." Well, I find it really hard to compare them at this moment, and also because they are different age categories, or each one are 2 years apart. So Arezzo is 18, Alvarez is 20, Nunes is 22. But all three have the capabilities or potential to be a really good youngster or good striker. So we see, and we are blessed. After having Suarez and Cavani, a lot of young number nines coming through, like Arezzo, like Alvarez, like Nunez, like Satriano for Inter. All of them, I don't really think it's. I think it will be really, really hard for them to compare or to get to the same level. But surely they have some exceptional qualities at their age. Jorge Cepero says, what do you think of Diego Alonso? I've heard his style of play is pretty defensive. Um, I, to be honest, you know what? And this is coming back to a comment which was made earlier in the stream by Fuad, I think his name is. I'm sorry if you're still listening, but I think that's your name was. He was saying that good manager is the manager who wins games. Doesn't matter what style of play you have. And I said, yeah, I agree because that's the truth. But I also said that the way football is going right now, less and less defensive or pragmatic football is winning big trophies. So Uruguay should be aiming at a manager that can propose a different style of play, which is suited to the current group of players. And to be honest, the group of players we have, or we should have, if we take in mind the players that are not being called up, who should be called up, these group of players, they are suited to a more modern, high pressing, attacking style of play. When you play, for example, Araujo and Jimenez in the center of defense, you can play a high line. You can play quite a way. You can play quite a distance from your own goal, and you could push up, press high. But you say Diego Alonso, pretty defensive style. I don't think he's particularly defensive style. I think he's pragmatic. That's true. I mean, it's not like he's full out attacking. He's more pragmatic than maybe Almada, for example, Guillermo Almada. But I don't think. I think. I think it's a hard one because I'm not. You know what? Managers like Almada, Gallardo, Aguirre, I have a pretty good idea of how their teams play because I've watched and read a lot about. Particularly read a lot about the way they're playing and also watch a lot of clips. Alonso, although I know he's done a good job in Mexico, I'm not I'm not completely sure or completely sold or what his style of play is. I know it can be a little bit pragmatic from the little I've seen and from the things I've asked to people who have watched his teams closely. Um, I'm not completely sure, but to be honest, I put him on the list because I think it's an interesting name. But for me, he would not be even in the top three of players or managers I would consider. Yeah. Pa 12EEK, that is your name. Agure, best case scenario, best option for me. But for the future, keep an eye out on Pablo Garcia. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you first, but Aguirre probably at this moment when we take our dreams and our hope out of it, it's probably the most realistic, best scenario. Pablo Garcia, uh, a hard one. I really like him, but his experience in management has been so little. But like you said, maybe in the future. Okay, we've been going on for 55 minutes. I want to thank you all for being here. I think we've talked about a lot of managers that could be there. I want to stress and again emphasize again Diego Aguirre and Guillermo, also Diego Aguirre and Marcelo Gallardo at this moment main candidates, but a lot can change in a few days, so we will see what's going to happen. Um, I hope you enjoyed the video. I for sure enjoyed your company, enjoyed your opinions, enjoyed the chat like I always do. Please like the video. Let's get it up to 10 likes. We are now on 7 likes. If we get it to 10 likes, it's brilliant. We'll be brilliant. And if you're not already, please subscribe. It's you can see or you can you can watch all the videos then if you want. And I would be really glad of it. So yeah, thanks a lot for being here, and I will see you probably in a few days because a lot of news is going on and on and on, and we have to keep track and. Let's hope the best for Uruguay. Let's hope we can get to the World Cup. Whichever manager gets us there, we just want to get to the World Cup because Uruguay belong at this stage. Bye bye.